Here we are with the news review. Welcome aboard. And of course, I'd also have to say welcome aboard to a certain Samuel Kojo Briggs. Oh, please anoint me. Anoint.
I should anoint you.
Yes, please.
Really?
Have you forgotten your role in the Bible?
I mean, that one. I think I anointed who?
David.
David. Yeah. So I was the one.
Of course, brought Saul, David.
David. Charlie. I was a powerful. No, okay.
You be big, man.
I'm a powerful man.
Powerful man. Charlie, thanks for catching up with us on the AM show.
One of my fathers is a reverend minister of the Methodist Church.
Oh, I see.
So if I should probably take after him, then I can anoint you in the future.
We are late too. Time is time. The clock is ticking. If the way you go, if you should take after him. But we have a lot of matters to discuss. Sure. We'll see whether at the tail end we can sneak in myjoyonline.com. But let's start with you. You have the daily graphic.
Sure. It comes with a photograph of the Minister for Information, Kojo Ponkroma. It says, economy rebounds faster. Government quickens process towards pre-COVID era levels. That's according to the Information Minister. A bit of the brief, the leader. It says, government has assured the citizenry of a quicker turnaround in the economic fortunes of the country after data has shown that the economy expanded at a faster rate than projected. Ooh, okay. Over 3,550 deferred students reinstated. Oh, this is good news then. This is in relation to.
So that's the 6,000 of the 6,000 number.
Exactly.
So that would leave maybe another 2,500 plus people affected.
This is good. Okay, I think it's still it says about 3,350 out of the 6,000 students of the Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology whose programs of study were deferred for the non-payment of fees have had their status restored. This followed a window of opportunity offered by the management of the university to the affected students to pay the fees and have their status reinstituted. Now, don't blame economic challenges on Russia-Ukraine war. TUC tells government. Anyway.
So there's been quite an interesting back and forth banter on that, right? Because, the Russian embassy here recently came out to say, don't blame us for your economic woes in Ghana and beyond. We are not the cause. And some have come out to say that, no, that is just, I've heard the likes of Dr. Stephen Amwa, say that they are just speaking to defend and protect their sovereignty.
Oh, sure, yes.
But that the Russo-Ukrainian war has affected everything. I feel, to be fair, you can find middle ground when it comes to this. And here's why. The Russia-Ukraine war. You take a country like Ghana, were we not already struggling in terms of our exchange rate? Were we not struggling in terms of some aspects of our economy? We were not in the best of places.
Yeah.
Okay? Some of the problems that the agri sector is facing with fertilizer and the rest. It's not to say that before the war between Russia and Ukraine, there were not problems. But I do agree that the war has exacerbated some of the things. So that is the middle ground that I feel many people are not, towing or following. So you see people from the opposition saying, oh no, it has nothing to do. It does have an impact. And you see those from the ruling administration saying it is all on the back of this. That too is not true. The middle ground is that it is more half and half. We don't know whether it's 60-40 or whatever, but it's definitely not.
Sure. Just that the government was or had been explaining about the impact of COVID on the economy. That the economy was really affected badly by the COVID-19. And just when the economy wanted or it was about recovering, then the Ukraine war also came in. I agree that it should not be blamed wholly on the war. Some part of it should be, the responsibility should be on us. How we have managed the economy, to say that maybe we didn't...
Because different countries have managed the economy, their economies in different ways. Some are very buoyant, others are really bad. In Latin America, some countries are faring very poorly. In fact, we have not done that badly. I mean, when you look at even the recent 5-point-something% given us by the Ghana Statistical Service in terms of the economy's growth, you would see that we've not done that badly. Again, sometime in February, the World Bank had in fact said that food was going to be a bit problematic across the globe. And that is when we recorded our highest food inflation, I think, since independence. You get it? Yeah. So there are different dynamics to take stock of. But the fact, too, remains that some economies find themselves where they do because of poor management. And in our instance, look, let's be fair, some of our spending, I wouldn't call it useless. And me, I don't mince words. I don't care. I wouldn't call it useless, but I think that some of our spending is exceeding, especially for a country like ours. It's like Patrickwa, a pauper, saying that all the money I have, I want to expend it on a Benz when your family is starving. Do you get it? So sometimes that's the lack of reasoning that goes into some aspects of our economy. But beyond that, I don't feel we have done exceedingly poorly. We've done bad, but not exceedingly poorly.
Sure, but it's good to hear that the economy is rebounding. Just to hear that we grew faster than projected is even reassuring. But I always say that these sort of figures or numbers should translate into the lives of the ordinary Ghanaian, because if you're measuring how people feel, it's not about the numbers, it's about how people will tell you, I'm able to afford my 3 square meals a day.
But you see, when we have those discussions, it also comes to this. The macro will affect the micro. The macro will affect the micro. I think the only glitch in there is our economists, it's like my problem with the technical people in this country, our engineering and stuff. You see us put up structures and it appears sometimes we don't get it right. But my point is that our economic management teams and blah, 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 they seem not to be able to strike that balance between the macro and the micro. So they'll be telling you, on the macro level, we're doing this and we are so good. Charlie, how come I'm not feeling it in my pocket? So I get the point, but without the macro too,
oh yes,
you will not have.
Of course, but that's why we have to find it, like you said, we have to find a way of translating that one into the ordinary man's life, for him to feel that, in fact, what you're talking about, the economy growing, I'm feeling it, and I can tell that we are. Maybe that's something we need to find. When you were speaking, I was thinking about the fact that the poor man says, I wouldn't want to spend beyond 2,000.
Right.
But he's always spending beyond 2,000. How can you, progress with that attitude? So
sometimes too, it is again on the back of the economy in which you're operating. Because you have I know people who come to you and say, boss, I used to spend about maybe X amount a week on food. Nothing has changed in terms of the quantity of food I am eating, but everything has changed in terms of the pricing of the food. So now I'm paying about 2.5 times.
My analogy here was even about Ghana. Ghana is a poor man who says that I don't have to spend beyond 2,000.
Okay, so you're using the generality of it.
Be spending beyond 2,000. I'm asking, how do you save for the future with this? How do you progress? So that's why people ask the questions. We should look at areas into which we are investing. We borrow.
Right.
Which areas do we invest? Those areas, are there areas that will bring up or bring out dividends for us to pay off those loans? Are they
whether it's infrastructure or whatever projects, are they ones that can fund themselves in future? Are they self-sustaining?
Pay off those kind of loans.
You have a crucial point there. Because a lot of the time we do things that, look, if you take the N1 and others, their benefit in terms of opening up town and all of that, massive. Look at the Tema motorway. Some 60 years down the line or so, we're still benefiting from it. Right into the industrial heart of Tema. But some of the projects we execute, we've pumped a lot of money into them. We get nothing from them as a people. And that vicious cycle has been one of our greatest woes as a country because, and it is also on the part of this, another vicious cycle. Let's say you're NDC, I'm MPP. You know the cycle. You go out, your projects, done, Yamutu. When I come, I want to do my own projects. That I'm sorry, stupidity is what has led us here. Because how can it be that, so the people of Ghana have a kitty with 100 cedis. You come, you expend 20 cedis of that. It's left with 80 cedis. Trying to work out some of the infrastructure, health, the issues of the country. You spend those 20 cedis already. I come in, instead of continuing the work, maybe with another 10 CDs to ensure that your 20 CDs plus my 10 CDs will give benefit, core benefit to the Ghanaian people. I shelve what you've done and I start same projects with another 20 CDs. In the end, we would lose about 40 plus CDs and still not attain what we are aiming at. You will come in again and you see, so we continue losing. It makes no sense. When you say it, our leaders act as though...
No, it's a discussion we as a country should have. And to say that if I do something, I don't come to say NDC or I don't come to say MPP. It is Ghana.
That's where we are.
It is the tendency for people to say, oh, I did it. That's why when they come, they tend to leave that. I've been studying this and I feel that this is the main reason. That I won't do it for you to claim glory. That, oh, I mean, it's my project.
Do you know why that?
You have not done
do you know why that persists? Because we don't, like Obama said, you don't need strong men, you need strong institutions. If you have the right institutions, it's not everything that you really fight over because the institutions take over. So when you roll over policies, it is state policy. It's not so much about
I think that's
Kufuor's policy.
That's where we should drive.
Mohammed's policy. It is Kufuor's policy. It is Rawlings' policy.
That's where we should drive towards because if I come to build an interchange, you don't call it my interchange. It is the state's interchange.
Right.
Maybe when we get there, things of this nature where we leave a project in the bush for it to go, to deteriorate would end because it doesn't make sense. We spend huge monies on them and we let them to go. Anyway, let's move on to other papers.
All right, so the Ghanaian Times newspaper at Pre-May Day Forum, no minimum wage below inflation rate this year, TUC to government. And that is literally a threat. They are taking up the matter and they are saying, Charlie, this year we no come to play. Nana yesrewa to mue. All right. Anyway. So the Ghana Trades Union Congress has stated categorically that the 2022 minimum wage will not be below the current inflation rate. Dr. Yaba, General Secretary, has hinted. He said their opinion was based on the current hardship workers in the country were suffering, stressing that there was a need for employers to listen to the cries of workers.
This is a discussion they've had for a very long time.
Yeah.
But we don't understand why you should give us a minimum wage which is below the inflation rate.
Right.
Because if you give a minimum wage which is below the inflation rate, of course, then
you are just saying basically
nothing.
Yeah.
Because the prices of goods have gone up to at this level, and then you're giving us an increment which is or a minimum wage which is below. Of course, that amounts to nothing really. So let's see how this goes. In negotiation, you come with yours, I come with mine. We meet ourselves.
We find a meeting.
So let's see how this goes.
But just to wrap with this, World Bank urges Ghana to initiate action to resolve debt burden. What I was talking about, the figure from the Ghana Statistical Service in recent times, it lowers our debt to GDP by just a bit. So I think we're hovering around, is it 76 point something percent, if memory serves. But there's still a lot here. Very interesting bits you should check out from page 13 of the paper when it comes to what the World Bank has been telling us. Their country rep, Pierre Laporte, has also had a lot of things to tell us about our economy. I always say that we shouldn't depend too much on these other institutions, Bretton Woods and others, but we don't seem to be getting it right internally. So it is also good that we listen to the World Bank and the IMF and also develop homegrown policies, just as with our democracy. Our economy, or our economic management also must be homegrown. There must be something Ghanaian about our economic management. It can't just be capitalism a la United States. We are different.
Let's even say African. Let's the whole of.
But even African is pretty broad because it's a pretty diverse.
Let's start from there. Let the continent develop, our own standards.
Right.
That will not depend on a non-African standard to measure how we are doing. Because I may be right, I may be wrong. The economists may have to help us here. Could these Bretton Woods institutions push us in a corner just so, look, you always have to come to us? That's sort of things I do have. And I feel that if we should develop our own standards, it may help us. But like you said, we have not been able to win ourselves from these institutions all the years we've been around. And it's something that I think our economists and the managers of our economies should come together and work towards.
I think these could have been the areas where we could have extended the African peer review mechanism and other such things. Recently, you know, our country was complaining about the Fitch and Moody's and the Standard and Poor's ratings. Can we have an African setting where we measure, we assess ourselves on a fair level?
Exactly.
And that's where the problem is.
We should hint that one should be on a
That they will
level
do
of
it right.
sincerity, you know, and fairness.
Ayo.
Anyway, are you done with yours?
Yes.
Okay, let me take the Finder newspaper. It says Republic Bank records 89.88 million cedis profit in 2021. Oh, that is good news. Dr. Okoboy appointed acting CEO of NHIA. I saw the letter yesterday afternoon. I was like, oh, really?
Yeah. So that means he's coming in to replace Dr. Lydia, I think Jani Selby.
Okay.
I don't know whether the Lydia is correct, but Jani Selby, right?
Well, government legally acquired and owns Accra Penhuasem lands. That's according to Lands Commission. Okay. I'm sure it's an issue that has come into the media lately,
right,
where we heard some resident complaining that government wants to come and demolish their buildings, but the government said, oh, what I'm trying to do is to protect state lands. But why?
The same state land that sometimes we hear and follow up on and hear that some people who walk the corridors of power have claimed for themselves. That kind of state land?
Well, but there's a Supreme Court ruling. There's a Supreme Court ruling that makes it illegal for people to buy state lands.
Oh.
But you have to...
For here?
For Ghana, yes. But you have to buy...
No. I guess a minimum, but for here. You don't know why it's going on.
You're being mischievous, eh?
You don't know. Let's leave it there.
Anyway, but my point about this is, why do we always have to sit down unconcerned for people to put up structures in unapproved, in quote, I'm using my word advisedly, unapproved areas?
Why do you think? Some bro will chop the money from the assembly. Some bro will do this, do that. They'll do chop. Then you, the person who have,
purchase the land,
put up the structure, they will come later and demolish your building, and that's that.
It becomes a burden on the state.
It's a scheme.
Why does that happen? I don't get it. That we have planners at the various assemblies and then building inspectors who are supposed to ensure that the right things are done. We look on concern for things to be done in wayward ways, and then we come back, spend the state resources, demolish, and even pay judgment.
Do you remember when Elvis Ifriankra of the NDC said, some of the things you do you think we are fools? Our hands are tied. Do you remember our hands are tied? Do you still want to go on?
Okay, let's move on. Religious harmony is bedrock of prevailing peace. That's according to the Vice President, Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia.
The Daily Guide newspaper, civil local government workers strike, traders hijack Tamale interchange. Think about that. It's on page 6. Review Supreme Court rules, and that's something we're discussing this morning. What do you think about that, though? He says frivolous cases, but who determines what is frivolous? And that's where that's my sticking point with what he says. There are so-called frivolous cases that have later been had a turnaround and different things have happened. Do you get it? So who determines what is frivolous? On the face of the law, though, prima facie, you may see certain things and say that this case has no merit. Ab initio. Those are different, but we can get into that. And there's also what he says about some cases of national concern being televised so that the politicization of it can be taken out. Interesting developments. All economies in trouble. That's according to Chairman of ECOWAS, Ibn Chambers. And don't we agree? We all agree, but the trouble is different on different levels. Just to wrap with entertainment, Efia Odo snubs Shatta. And of course, this is Shatta Wale. Van Veker denies accident rumor, and ASAP Rocky arrested in Los Angeles on a charge of assault with a deadly weapon stemming from an alleged non-fatal shooting last year, the police said. So that's the story.
boyfriend of Rihanna, isn't it?
Oh, yeah.
Oh.
So he's gonna live his life. Oh.
You might be good at singing, huh?
I may. No, I'm good at talking.
Okay.
Not exactly singing.
The way you've been singing this morning, and I'll be there, we should probably be looking at.
No, weather, no.
Anyway, let me do the Daily Statesman. It says Ayoko says we can share in after gains, and we've been talking about Africa setting its own standards.
Right.
I think AfCFTA is one thing that we can build on, really, if we take all the necessary steps to making it work. You know, and we can look at the AfCFTA example and build on. Really, we are lucky to have the headquarters here.
That is show for nothing. Let me burst your bubble.
Oh, you think?
AfCFTA is going to serve certain countries that are already prepared.
Oh, but
that are some countries even now are benefiting far more in East Africa and others from AfCFTA, and it will continue that way until countries like Ghana. Let me tell you, probably the biggest gain we've had is, oh yeah, you're peaceful, you are this, you are that. So let's locate AfCFTA, here. Its secretariat here. Beyond that, go and check. What the real... So I'm saying that moving on, we should stop with the rhetoric and actually get the real benefits.
I also know companies that are really in Ghana.
No, I'm not saying that we are not getting anything out of it. I'm saying that a lot of it is hype, talk. I've spoken to people on AfCFTA. The things we could be doing to benefit from the AfCFTA arrangement in Ghana, we're doing maybe what? We're scratching the surface.
Well, but you see, it's about your preparedness.
That's exactly my point.
So this is you knew it was coming. How prepared were? I remember there were conferences. We had some in Takrady and all of that.
Right.
How to prepare companies for AfCFTA. Beyond the talk, what happened? What actual things did we do to get these companies prepared?
Right.
That if we knew we had companies that were into tomato production, that were into rice production, what did we do to ensure that we create market for these companies?
Right.
I know companies that are into rice production that really need help.
Right.
How do we think about, okay, look, you're into rice production. We think that with AfCFTA, we can push you up.
Those are the exact points I am making, talking about. You interact with a lot of these economists and people in the trade space, and they tell you some things that make your heart, bleed. So yes, getting the HQ here, the secretariat, fantastic. But beyond that, let it not become a white elephant.
Exactly. Maybe there are more things we should be doing than just having it here and talking. We love talking too much as a country. We should be working. I
have only one paper left, so you can quickly look at your headlines and then come in as well.
AG cautions propagandist lawyers. Okay. Nukes SRC to bail out the Fed KNUSC student. Wow, this will be good news then. Because we've been joining NUS and SRC, really, we've not seen so much. So if you can come in here in the times where students are troubled to save them, that would be good on the part of the SRC and NUCs. Publisher says NCSA, NCA confer on Cybersecurity Act, GIZ, FDA increase vaccine safety knowledge, LG introduces, delayed bias justice security threat, says Kandapa. And fertilizer scarcity bites. Government owes suppliers 436 million cedis.
Okay.
See, I've been saying that. The suppliers say, the other time I told you I spoke to this technical advisor at the Ministry of Agri, and he says, oh, we've signed contract and we expect them to deliver. You've signed contract, but the people say beyond the paper that you've signed, we need the money that you owe us so we can go ahead and deliver. You know, the businessman is not someone that when the money has not come, he will still be pouring in money. The government needs to pay them their monies. Until we do that, the fertilizer will still be scarce on the market and our farmers will be suffering. Look, we are almost in the season. They should be planting by now.
Right.
But where
some are unable to do so. Yeah.
Because the fertilizer is not there. If you have your money, you go and buy it at exorbitant prices. But we had PFJ that was subsidizing it for all of us. But now the money is, government owes and the government is not paying. That's a difficulty.
That's because we are a KJRC.
What does that mean?
Knee-jerk reaction country. We always wait.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
It's not because government says.
I think if they were ranking knee-jerk reaction countries in the world, I think Ghana would place first.
Oh, really?
We're never proactive.
You think?
Administrations back to back. We like to wait, play the waiting game. And then we get caught, like we got caught with COVID, like we got caught with the Russia-Ukraine
but COVID
war.
we did better.
It has. I'm not saying that we didn't do anything.
So wearing that caught, we were a little proactive, weren't we?
Did you follow the trajectory when we were talking about mass production and the rest, local mass production industry? Where is it? Our big talk about vaccination, this and the hub and da.
And meeting the pharmaceutical companies to see how they can
produce
vaccines locally.
Now you get my drift. Republic Press, that's my final newspaper.
But I won't agree with you that we are totally a reject.
No. I'm saying that if we were ranking, we would be number one. And I know why I'm saying what I do. Practically everything in this country is a knee-jerk reaction. The recent release from the Education Ministry of 60 what million on the back of the threats and
Okay.
Republic Press newspaper.
You have examples to back your claim.
Alan beats Baumia in new poll over who leads NPP. Court issues bench warrant for 3 over 301,000 Ghana cedi unlawful damage. Sewa Bruni in Parliament as NDC busybodies endorse internet trendsetters tomfoolery and then ignore frivolous cases in court. But I'll end with this one. Hey, Benji the Asembebo. He says he's attracted to me, but he keeps losing his erection. It's on page 13 of the newspaper. But to wrap, I have two things for you. Kojo Krampa, I'm watching you live from Fadama. Samuel Kojo Brace, good morning. Hope you had a great day. You have some fans here. Agatha Ampabing says, watching you live from Itrabo. Senior Boscan, Mr. Brace. Senior Boscan. Mr. Brace, long time. Love your discussions, especially the questions. So some shouts for you.
Well, that's Atwabo.
Atwabo,
where the gas plant is.
Yes, please. Yes, please.
You know what Boscan means?
Which
that's
John Bosco?
No.
Or which one?
Badu Bones, Senior High Technical School. Where?
Badu Day?
Badu Bones.
Chai!
Senior High Technical School.
Chai!
You and I are here. That's what.
Okay, you've mentioned it before.
What matters is that we're all here now. Yeah.
And you have a lovely shirt, by the way.
Thank you, my brother. And you have one too.
Thank Catherine Gordon for it. Anyway, time to get into sports now. Up next on the AM Show.